Okay, hello. Today I want to discuss with you the grade 9 mathematics topic, which is called number verses. Numbers, math, grade 9, number verses. I'll be so quick and brief. There are certain things I'm not even bring out. I'll just go direct to the point that I feel are important and way the topic is outlined. Okay, so I'll go direct to the number types or the types of bases that are mostly talked about in a grade 9 mathematics syllabus. So one, there is base two, or maybe let me just it's okay two, I wanted to use the word base two, which are called binary numbers. Binary numbers. Then the other one is what we call base five. The name you can research. I'm not here to spoon feed, unfortunately. Certain things I'll be leaving those that I feel you can read about them. Then the third one is the commonly used one, verse 10, which is called decimal. Decimal numbers. But look here, there's quite an important element that is attached to this. What am I trying to say? When you are dealing with verse 2, let me say exam tips. When you are dealing with the numbers in verse 2, you always talk about the types of numbers that are less than the base itself. I'll say that again. When you're dealing with a certain base, let's say base 2, base 5, base 10, you always have to deal, or you always have to be dealing with the numbers that are less than the base itself. Come on, let's look at this. Base 2. So what whole numbers are those that are less than 2, 0, and 1? So when you're dealing with any bigger number, any big number, for as long as it is in base 2, the numbers that you're likely to be handling just 0 and 1, nothing more. If you get rather 2, then you're wrong here and there. If you get rather 3, any number bigger than the base itself means something is wrong. If you are dealing with numbers in verse 5, always you need to be having numbers that are less than the base, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Because the base is 5, you cannot have a number bigger than the base, which is 4. You cannot have a number which is bigger than 5. It's not just possible. Allow me to take a little bit to have the last one. And then if you're dealing with verse 10, the commonly used one, I think this one is something that we agree. When you're dealing with numbers in verse 10, the types of numbers are those that are less than the base itself. So like going to have, oh sorry, start with a 0 here. So you're going to have a 0 here. You're going to have a 1. Then the cycle continues. You're going to have 8 and the 9. Closes the chapter. You cannot have any number dealing with base 10 that are bigger than 10. You go up to 9. Dealing with base 5, you cannot have a number bigger than 5, go up to 4. Then dealing with base 2, you cannot have a number that are bigger than the base itself, so you just go up to 1. That is the way we're going to do this. So right from here, I'm going to show you how we convert numbers from the certain base up to the other base. So allow me to clear this part here. If you feel I'm too fast, that I have rubbed the things that you've not written, the best that you can do is just to do a background play, or a reverse, or a rewind, as you might put it. And then you get to have whatever I have rubbed replayed. So allow me to do the what I'm going to call the conversion of number bases. So conversion of number bases. So the conversion assumes there's a little bit of work here. The number bases, still a little bit of ink. Bases here. So we're talking about the conversion from base 10 to base 2. How can we convert a number to a given, and then from base 10 to base 2? How can we do that? The first example we're going to have is converting a 3, which is in base 10. So 3 is a number that is in base 10. Now, how do we convert it to base 2? And remember what we said, for as long as our answer remains in base 2, the types of numbers we're likely to have as the answer are the binary numbers, 0 and 1. How do you do that? So the procedure is this. There may be other procedures. There are a lot of software that have been designed. There are a lot of websites where you can do an online conversion. But a manual way, this is what you do. So the first thing here, you need to have a little bit of a bigger size here. We're going to have the number you're talking about, you divide it by a 2, because you're taking it to base 2. Then the other one is the solution. Allow me to use simple way of writing. Solution. When you do the conversion here, the answer you find, you write it here. But remember, we are dividing that number by a 2. So we're likely to have a remainder. If you're dealing with an even number, to start with the 3 itself. When you divide the 3 with the 2, you're going to have a remainder. So how do you take care of that remainder? The remainder will be written here. So that is a table that you need to have when you're converting numbers from base 10 to base 2. Let's get a part started. So the number I have here is a 3. So supposedly we put a 3 here, we divide it with a 2. What is the answer? Definitely the answer will be 1. But 2 cannot go into 3 without the remainder. The remainder will be here, which is a 1. So this answer, which is the solution that we have here, is what we're going to have here, and then we divide it continuously with a 2. What's the answer? The answer is it cannot divide because 1 is smaller than 2. So here we believe in the saying it can't. If it can't, then we're done. So if 1 cannot divide a 2, it cannot. But the fact of the matter is that there's a remainder, which is 1. Now, when the solution remains 0, then the conversion is done. And guess what you do? When you're writing, you have to start from the bottom. But it's 1, 1. You start from the top or the bottom, the answer is the same. But in the case where you have a 0 close to the end, there it becomes of great importance how to go about it. So converting 3 base 10 to base 2, so we have 1, 1. So we're going to have 1 over. Where do I write it? Allow me to write here 1, 1, 1, verse 2. So 3 in verse 10 is the same as 1, 1 in verse 2. Now look at the type of numbers that we have. 1, 1, 1. We don't have any number that is greater than 2. It gives us a number to say we are heading somewhere. So 3 in verse 10, comparing to verse 2, we definitely get to have 1, 1 verse 10. Let's have a couple of examples, 2 or 3, then where it comes. We're going to change now. We're going to put, but remember, when you have a bigger number, the conversion may go a long way, longer than that. So we're still doing verse 10 to verse 2. This allows me to remove the thing that I've written here. The table remains. The table remains. To avoid drawing the table every now and then. So just allow me to have the same table. I'll just be changing the content of this very table. The other number that we're going to have now is 30, slightly bigger than that. So you're going to have 3 verse 10. How do we convert it from verse 10 to verse 2? The procedure is the same, except that maybe the conversion may go slightly longer than that. It depends on the number that you have. Okay, let's get the part started. The number in here is 3, 3. So I'm going to put 3 here. 3 divided by 2. Now remember, 3 can divide the 2. 2 can go into 2 can go into the 3. 2 also goes into that. So we're gonna have what's the answer, by the way? Let me pause for a while and then allow to think. So we find that the number of 2 can go in 2 can go into 1, 2 can go into 3 one time, remainder 1, and then 2 goes into 13, goes up to 12, which is 6. The remainder is 1. I don't need to repeat that. 2 goes into 1, 2 goes into 3 one time. We have the remainder at the next number. 2 goes into 13, goes up to 12, 6 times, remainder 1. So the answer that we have here, 16, is what we're going to put here now. 16, then we divide it. We divide it by 2. And when you do that, 16 divided by 2, that one gives us a perfect number, which is 8. I believe so. Yeah, it is. So my answer here gets to be 8, but guess what? There's no remainder. So no remainder, all right, and 0. The same 8 comes here now. We divide it by 2, and the answer is 4. Guess what? No remainder. The puzzle continues. I'm gonna have a 4 here. It's very fun, you know. Divide by 2, the answer is 2. No remainder. Remember, there is no. Now let me put it a little bit. And then we're gonna have the same 2 comes here. 2 divided by 2 gives 1. There is no remainder. Lastly, we're gonna have the 1 put in here. 1 divided by 2, but unfortunately it cannot give a 0, and then we put a 1 here. We are done. Our solution has given us a 0. So we're done. We go in that way, and then you get to have 1 here. How many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 1 in verse 2. Now, guess what? These numbers that we have understand. It is very simple, and it is very simple. Okay, now let's look at the last number. I think 2, 3 examples will be enough. Could be very much enough. Okay, let's take a look at the last example. The last example is likely to be bigger than that, but because of the room space that I have, I cannot have a bigger number, but be reminded that be reminded that the procedure is just the same. Never should you at any point say, this time around, let me start from the top, and then keep writing numbers in the downward arrangement, it means you are destined to doom. What number? Just speak of the good part of mathematics. Such questions, you can speak of a number that you like. Oh, when I was born 10404. Let me see 44. You see, it's very good. So 4 10. But because of the number is likely to go a little bit longer than that. So likewise, I'm gonna put a 4 here. I'm gonna put a 4 divided by 2, and then guess what? The answer will be 22. Is there a remainder? We are dividing an even number by an even number. The remainder, there is no. What else do? We're going to have the same 22. So we put a 22 here. We divide it by 2. It's also an even number. It is 11. Remainder, there is no. Oh, wow. Now we have an odd number. So when you put an odd number here, divided by 2, guess what the answer will be? The answer will be 5. 5. Now there comes a remainder. Because you can only go up to 10, and then we have a remainder, which is 1. Now from that, we have a 5. Put a 5 here. It's also an odd number, so it's going to give us a remainder to remainder 1. Now, guess how you can compare. You multiply this and that, you add that, gives that. Like 2 by 22 plus 0 gives us 44. 2 by 11 plus 0 gives us 42. 2 by 5, 10 plus 1 gives us 11. 2 by 2, 4 plus 1 gives us 5. So that means okay. And now we have a 2 right here. 2 divided by 2. The answer is 1. Is there a remainder? No. Now, what about a solution which is a 1? So 1 divided by 2, guess what? It cannot. But then there is a remainder. The remainder is 1. Now here, an order becomes very good. Because look here, if I were to start from the top, now 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, we could have ignored the 0. We cannot have 0, 0, 1. We could have just ignored the first 2 zeros. But you start from the bottom. So the number will be 1, 0. Have a 1 here. We have a 0. 1, 1 here. 1, 1, 0, 0 in base 2. You see that? But there is another way of converting base 2 back to base 10. We'll come and look at this. Okay. So for now, I think this example is enough. But I'm going to write the table here. I'll take you to copy and follow the procedure nicely, because I'm going to write the board here, and then I'll give an exercise. I'll also attach my WhatsApp line, so that when you get half the time, you practice that work and then send back the solutions. Okay, so do I need to write a statement of the question? If that's what you want, then well and good. I'm going to drop everything, and then we're going to put the question, because by now, the time you get to this part of the work, you should have understood what you're looking at. You have understood that you're looking at number bases. Okay. Oh, I need to switch on the light. Now, let's look at so exercise. Remember, the work has to be sent to plus 209 755 7869 4. That's where you send your work to. This is my phone number. Right. So question 1, convert the following numbers. Allow me to do that. Numbers from base 10 to base base 2. So the first number here will be 7, a very small number, 7. B will be 54. Remember, these are in base 10, these are in base 10. Then C, I'm going to put 71, a very big number. Wow. And then D, oh, what number can I put? 94. 94 in base 10. So these numbers have to be converted to base 2 and then give me a shout. That number. All right. A lovely evening and enjoy the day. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and then do not forget to take the preventive measures. COVID is zero. Take care of yourself. Take care.